TikTok isn't safe for federal government workers' devices. Does the president believe it's safe for Americans' children's smartphones?
So I'm glad that you asked about that because, look, we have been clear about our concerns about TikTok, apps like TikTok.
One sec. Democracy's calling. See you, Daddy. Bye.
Hi, my name is Cooper, and this is a day in my life as a White House intern.
We did it, Joe. Hey, everyone. Vogue.
Usually I start off with a big coffee. Sorry, they're like really strict in here.
Hey, Jenny. I booked you a nail appointment, love.
Yeah, I didn't tell you to do that.
It's called Initiative. Hi, White House. This is Cooper. I don't think so. Oh, doesn't matter.
This is actually the entrance to the West Wing. This is so fun and it's really prestigious.
Hey, POTUS. Is Olivia Rodrigo still here?
No. We've come a long way in our fight against this virus. We've vaccinated 160 million Americans. Are you getting this all down?
Don't worry, Queen. It's all right here.
Cooper.
Sorry, Miss Jen. And Jen, don't forget to have fun. Spirit fingers, Mama.
We need to get shots in the arms of every single American.
I'm heading to a haircut.
Comment if you want me to make more of these.
And certainly our concerns with countries including China as they seek to leverage digital technologies and Americans' data in ways that can present harm and risk to our national security clearly.
It's day 222 of being a girl. I'm in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to the White House to speak to the President of the United States.
There was, to your point about families, there was a piece of data, a CDC data that just found recently that nearly 60% of teen girls felt persistently sad or hopeless in 2021, and 30% seriously considered suicide. So this is something that the president has taken action on. If you look at the using his executive branch authorities.
You know that phrase, I fear I may have girl bossed too close to the sun? Well, that's how I feel today because I get to sit down with Joe Biden and now this news, and I get to ask him a few questions surrounding trans issues in the United States and talk to him about my transness, and I really just want to represent my community the best that I can.
We think about his unity agenda. A couple of things that he was able to do was stop collecting personal data on kids and teenagers online, ban targeted advertising to children, and impose stricter limits on the personal data companies collect on all of us.
And you know what? As silly as I am on here, I'm ready to step up and show that trans people, we're not going anywhere. And that trans kids, they deserve a fighting chance to be their true selves. Okay? Oh my God, I'm running late. Let's go. And y'all are obviously wondering what I'm gonna wear to meet the president. Here you go. It's the trans flag colors. Cute, right? It's the heels. Okay, Dylan, you're gonna be great. I love you. Let's go. Come on. Do you think I just knock on the front door? Let's go.
Looking for the president's dog.
Our queen. Love you. I love you. We're about to go. Is there anything in my teeth?
Leaving on cloud 9.
The President of the United States gave me a cookie. He gave me a cookie in the Oval Office. Now here's the question. Do I eat it or do I save it? It has a seal. I got to pet the dog.
And so this is what the president calls on for Congress to pass in a bipartisan way, privacy legislation to hold by big tech accountable. And so the president's going to continue to take actions, but we see that. We see that in the data, how this has affected young people, especially during this pandemic in the last couple of years.
I left with a lot of hope and optimism, not only for just trans people, but many different topics. And the fact that our president has watched Days of Girlhood, it's kind of epic. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been having a rough go of it lately. A lot of darkness. And today was what I needed to keep going. Also, if you live in the US and can legally vote, this is gonna be one of the most important elections of our lifetimes. So please get out and vote. God bless America.
Thanks, Karine. To follow on that, does the president believe TikTok is a threat to national security?
Well, we have said that we have concerns. We have concerns about the app. And that's why we have called on Congress to act, and including, and I mentioned earlier, just moments ago, including how China is trying to collect the privacy of Americans in a way that can present national security risks. So yes, we have concerns about that.
Mr. President, this is my 221st day of publicly transitioning.
God love you.
Thank you. I am extremely privileged to live in a state that allows me access to the resources I need, and that decision is just between me and my doctors. But many states have lawmakers that feel like they can involve themselves in this very personal process. Do you think states should have a right to ban gender-affirming health care?
I don't think any state or anybody should have the right to do that. As a moral question and as a legal question. I just think it's wrong. I mean, there's a lot of, sometimes they try to block you from being able to access certain medicines, being able to access certain procedures and so on. None of that should be available. I mean, no state should be able to do that in my view. So I feel very, very strongly that you should have every single solitary right, including use of your gender identity bathrooms.
And look, we're going to continue to call on Congress. I just laid out the president's unity agenda and what he's looking to do and the actions that he wants to take from the executive branch of his authority. And so we're going to continue to call that out.
Do the actions include a ban on all devices in the U.S.?
So look, what I would say is this. The White House does not use TikTok.
It feels like Republicans have turned trans and non-binary people into this thing to blame society's downfall on in some ways. And this narrative is not only dangerous to our mental health, but also our physical safety. And particularly trans women of color are being murdered at an alarming rate.
More than any other group of people.
Thank you. How can Democratic leaders be more effective in advocating for us trans people and our families and our lives and our opportunities?
I'm not being facetious when I say this, being seen with people like you. No, I mean it. I genuinely mean it. People fear what they don't know. They fear what they don't know. And when people realize, individuals realize, oh, this is what they're telling me to be frightened of. This is the problem. People change their minds. People just don't know enough to know. And it's not because of intellectual incapability, it's just lack of exposure.
But we do believe that Congress took action, and so therefore clearly they took action and put this into law, and clearly we're taking those steps as it relates to the federal government. Outside of that, we know that CFIUS has an ongoing investigation ongoing looking at this situation. So I'm not going to go beyond what CFIUS is doing.
And I think that it's really important that we continue to speak out about the basic fundamental rights of all human beings. And the idea that what's going on, in some states, I won't get into the politics of it, but in some states, it's outrageous, and I think it's immoral. The trans part's not immoral, but they're trying to do to trans persons is immoral.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard?
I guess what I'm trying to understand is, has the president not issued a federal ban on TikTok on all devices because he does not think it's a threat to national security, or because he does not have a legal mechanism to do so?
I'm not going to get into the specifics on what he has legally to do so or to not do so. What I'm saying, and we've been very clear, that TikTok, poses a problem and an issue. And so we have concerns about that as it relates to Americans' data, collecting Americans' data, and the potential national security risk. And we've been very, very clear on that.
Why is gas so expensive, and why is the United States inflation rate at a 4-time decade high? I had the opportunity to ask the White House why gas down the street is $7, and here's what they said.
The obvious reason, we're getting out of a 2-year pandemic. When use goes up, price goes up. But the call was predominantly about Ukraine and Russia, so how does that relate? Russia is one of the top 3 producers of oil, and it is actually their #1 revenue source. Now, with Putin starting this horrific fight between Ukraine and Russia, nobody wants to work with him in doing international trade. So, with people being scared of war and limited resources, prices are bound to go up as well. For the people who can't pay $7 for a gallon of gas, there's an app called Gas Buddy that shows you the cheapest gas near you, as well as a link in my bio to donate to the misplaced refugees of Ukraine.
You talked about TikTok earlier. I'm just curious now, why did the administration then wait so long to ban TikTok in all federal employees? 29 states have already done it, and the president, his first month in office, canceled an investigation by the Commerce Department into TikTok. So why did they wait so long?
So I'm not going to speak to any investigation. Look, the process is happening now. That's what we're seeing. What I can say is that the president has been very clear about his concerns with apps like TikTok, and I just laid out the CDC reporting and how it's affecting our children, and the importance of making sure that we deal with this in a real way, which is why he put forth his unity agenda and laying out ways that we can deal with an issue that is affecting the emotional growth and also of our children. And so, look, the unity agenda kind of lays out how the president wants to move forward. I'm not going to go beyond that.
So I just got off of a Zoom call with the White House about the situation in Ukraine. A number of other content creators in social media and myself were invited to this event, which was on background, meaning that we couldn't record or take pictures, but we can discuss what we learned from it. Now, there was definitely a lot discussed, but in this video, I'm going to go over the specific question that I got to ask, the answer to it, and my thoughts on their response. And as a quick piece of context, a lot of the people there ask questions based off of the content they create and what they feel their audience might want to know. So that informs the question that I personally asked. So this was my question. Many people from marginalized communities in the United States have become dejected regarding the situation.
Another question on TikTok. You all have had TikTok influencers in the building before, you've briefed them before. Given the focus on the national security concerns, do you still feel like that's an appropriate way to engage with the app?
So look, as I've mentioned before, the White House clearly does not use TikTok, but one thing that we do believe in is meeting the American people where they are. And the reality is, many of them, millions of them, are on this app. So we engage with people who are using their own platforms. It's up to them on how they use the content. But we've always said from here, this is something that we have said for a long time, that we're going to try to communicate with the American people and meet them where they are. But we are also have been clear about the concerns that we have with this, with apps like TikTok, and that's not going to stop.
So I was invited to a Black History Month reception at the White House, and here's just a little bit of footage that I was able to take. And for this event, I decided to base my outfit off of the Black American Heritage flag. So stay on this video to get ready with me and learn more about this flag and what it represents.